right, welcome everybody. We're excited to jump into this session. We got Maja Voje. She's a GTM strategist. Her content on LinkedIn is on fire. I was so excited to jump onto this. I've been following her for the last little while. We're going to be talking about why great products still fail, the GTM mistakes that AI can fix. So, Maja, thanks for joining. How are you?
Oh, Gabe, I'm fantastic. And I'm so thrilled to have this conversation with you because yesterday it was Sunday and I built like 4 AI agents, no
Oh
code,
my
like
goodness.
automating my LinkedIn stuff. I mean, we live in exciting times. What else can I say?
Yeah, I mean, we've got to learn a little bit about some of that today. But again, my awesome content. Thanks for jumping on. So let's start big picture, maybe a little higher level. You worked with a ton of startups, a lot of global brands. What are some of those big GTM patterns or pitfalls that you're seeing across the board right now?
Yeah, fantastic. So it all depends on the stage in the first place, right? I technically like to divide the GTM in 3 stages. The first one is just like getting the product market fit right, hopefully defend it. So this
Yep.
one is literally like doing whatever is mission critical, keeping the lights on, right? This is a very messy process, but literally once we nail this one, we have to come up with just like at least one go-to-market motion. So predictable and scalable way how to get customers and retain them and get them again and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And later on, we can start talking about scaling and go-to-market modes, right? So the first thing that usually like doesn't fit into any equation is how we are thinking about processes, especially
Yeah.
now when like we have those agentic processes as well, right? So oftentimes I'm seeing like early stage people trying to do like really fancy sales orgs. To do what?
Mm,
I mean, we
yeah.
literally have to learn how to sell first, talk with like a gazillion of customers. Eventually, we can develop playbooks. It's very nice. So the first thing would be to be stage appropriate. The second one that I'm seeing, especially with technical founders, and I bloody love them. Like they're so intelligent, but oftentimes they are just like mistaking this go-to-market stuff for the launch per se, right? So they
Okay.
think like, oh, let's launch this, and then like my job in marketing and sales is over. And good old silos. I mean, not that I'm blaming any department whatsoever. It's just like often when I'm working with bigger teams, you have these weird hand-ons, right? So,
Mm,
for example, product marketing manager is responsible for go-to-market, but
yeah.
product manager does persona, and there comes like the brand manager, and then
Yeah.
like who executes it is another person. So there are so many misalignments there that I am
Mm.
again very passionate to just like talk about a little bit in the continuation, like how can we help ourselves and companies we work with AI.
Yeah. Yeah. Look, I mean, obviously that makes a ton of sense. And you've worked with so many of these companies. I love the kind of the
Are you
phrase.
calling me old, Gabe? I
No,
mean,
no,
you
I
are
was
ex
saying
Meta, so
I was calling you experienced. There's a difference between old and
there's a
experienced, man.
fine line. There's a fine line. Yeah.
Yeah, let's continue. This one's been, I've been kind of wondering this one. I think you've got a piece of content here that says about 74% of products fail.
Mhm.
And not because they're bad, it's but because of some of these GTM mistakes. I'm wondering if you can unpack that a little bit. What are some of those common mistakes that you see, even when they're solid products, but they just don't have like the right go-to-market plans?
Okay, this is fantastic. So I will literally walk you through a couple of go-to-market elements here. The first mistake that I often see in practice is just like products being overbuilt or underbuilt, right? There is a
Hmm.
fine balance, especially now in AI where everybody is like so sick and tired of fantastic demos and then like very shitty deliverables once we are there in the product PLG style. So we
Mm.
really have to align on the expectations and quality, right? That would be the first extreme. And the second extreme would be to spend 18 months in your basement, not talking to a single customers and just like doing the best you can, right? So that can go wrong when it comes to product. The second one is especially true for founders with very strong vision, right? Of course, our vision is to help like gazillion
Yes.
industries to make a world a better place. I get that. I love that. I'm a sucker for good vision. But nevertheless, we have to start somewhere, right? And whereas I perfectly acknowledge the existence of horizontal products, we need to, in majority of cases, just like nail down this beachhead segment, the first
Oh,
market that you will conquer in order to generate the critical mass of traction and also feedback loops so that we can later on create our way up market.
Yeah.
So you are trying to be too many things to too many different people, and what you end up is just like scattering your resources too thin and not going very far. So that's the art of focus. Later on, we can play around with pricing, right? So with pricing, we again have like two extremes. The first one is just like not bother about this pricing whatsoever and just like do plus minus 10, 30% of your competitors range, to not even think about like added value pricing and how value in the ecosystem is being created. Or there is like an opposite extreme. It's just like making it slightly cheaper will magically make people want it more, right? So underpricing is a huge one, especially like with AI products, because with usage of AI credits, we have realistic costs. And whereas like if we mess up the pricing for the first 10 customers, that's fine. But if we go and like do the big launch, if we don't account unit economics, that could literally bury us. And last but not least, just like in terms of go-to-market motions and positioning, this is like literally the last statement that I have here. It's more of a rant than a statement. So when it comes to messaging,
you guys can see, doesn't Maja have some awesome energy? She's just like, yes, go, 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 go. Sorry, finish your last thought. Yeah,
that's my passion. That's keeping me awake at night. But nevertheless, so when it comes to messaging and positioning, I don't believe, and this is like literally the hill that I'm like willing to die on, that you can nail it from the get-go. I very much believe that it needs to be iterated on, and there isn't a single person who would magically visionary do the Steve Jobs thingy. We need to just like put something out there, see how it goes, elaborate on it, and then like revisit it at least like once a quarter or once a year in order to make sure that it's still relevant. And just like when it comes to channels and like playbooks and stuff like that, especially us marketeers and like maybe also salespeople don't know about that, you'll tell. But we have like a little bit of fear of missing out, right? So right now, what is really hot is like AI SEO, and everybody's thinking about Reddit, and everybody's trying to like be hit number one on AI, which is great, but people are just like neglecting fundamentals here. So follow customer journey, go where the audience is, and make sure that you are creating this awesome blueprint of multiple touch when you really like do the sales at the end of the funnel, that you are just not like doing the awareness, demand generation, however it's called these days.
I love that. Well, a couple of quick follow-ups. Pricing stuff. I mean, people are so confused with pricing. Should you be, I've got an AI product. Should it be usage? Should it be seats? Should it be outcomes? Should it be price per conversation? Should it, any advice on pricing AI stuff? Just follow your competitors and see what your market likes.
Well, you can start there, but eventually you will see what's up. So my colleague Kyle Poyer did brilliant work there, but as I was working with my teams, I saw like gazillion of nuances how pricing is done in real life. So hypothetically, like we should be leaning towards some sort of credit-based pricing, usage-based pricing, added value pricing, yada, yada. And that's amazing if your users understand what a credit is and what they get from a certain amount of credits, right? Otherwise, it creates huge friction, especially in product-led growth. The second thing is that if you are dealing with big corporates, for example, they will want a predictable cost. So you literally have to envision how much will this cost them per year or something like that. And oftentimes, especially like with earlier stages team, we are just giving them this sweetheart entry deal and hope for the best. I mean, if something will go badly wrong, we can still negotiate, but it's more important to just like get people to use this than to do like these nitty gritties, Excel sheets, however people want to do this stuff. So pricing is literally, in my perception, a unit of value transfer. So it literally starts at the same place as product management would. So here is a user, here's a product, here is a value that your product is creating, and then you capture some value in order to build sustainable business. This is the simplest way how I could describe it.
I love it. I love it. Okay, you mentioned two other words, and they are buzzwords, but I just want to get your quick thoughts on it. You mentioned AI SEO, and you mentioned Reddit. A lot of people are talking about those without spending 2 hours, which I bet you could spend 2 hours on it. What's your quick take or advice for the audience around these two important topics?
Mhm. So one of my clients did a brilliant experiment in June. They literally created a prompt, and one copywriter created 126, I think, was articles for their blog post. In a matter of weekend, once they like started pumping this stuff, they ranked much better for a specific type of AI SDR tools that are there, right? So
Mm.
it's redefining how this work is being done.
Okay.
Myself, I have been like doubling down a lot on just like making sure that we have socials in order. So Reddit, we're still exploring. I haven't been having like great results with it in my portfolio,
Okay.
but some
Interesting.
people have, right?
Okay.
But I literally think that it is so important for us to learn that, because unlike typically SEO index stuff on Google that you cannot realistically fight against like in 2025, we
Mhm.
do have a fair chance there. So it's definitely worth taking a look at, but I would not bet my business
Love
on
it.
that
Love it.
either.
Thank you for the quick take. Okay, a few more while I've got you. So, you have this idea of a GTM Powerhouse Framework. I'd love for you to walk us through it. How should a team use it? What outcomes should they expect? What is this GTM Powerhouse Framework?
Okay, so this model was born in Belgrade, I think, where I had
Okay.
9 or 10 mentorship sessions like back to back. And I realized that in 70% of the cases, I'm talking the same things to different people. So this is why I
You're
created
like, you
just
know what?
like
I'm going to
this.
create a framework. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I hate to repeat myself. That's an advan. It is special. But nevertheless, this is a one pager, right? So what you do here is you list your initial go-to-market assumptions, something
Okay.
about your target market, then like product, value prop, target customer, pricing and packages, and competitive
Mm,
alternatives. And especially on early projects, you can easily see what are the problematic parts there. Usually it is just like this positioning messaging part. So how to create like UVP. Some people will kill me for writing the best here. I meant different, guys. I meant different.
mm.
But for the majority of tech folks, it's just like easier to absorb this word. And pricing and packages. So these are usually the problematic ones. Okay. Now we have a giant frame of the assumptions that we have when it comes to go to market. Next, we are listing down the objectives, right? So, what is mission critical to achieve in the next 3 or 6 months? Some
Yeah.
experts would say 18 months, but I'm not there. My imagination is a little bit more
I can't go
short-sighted than
18.
this.
I don't like 18 months. That's too far out for
Me
me. I like
neither. Me neither. I don't even know like what will
I
be
can't
going
even
on in
remember what
my
I'm
life
doing
in 18 months.
yeah,
Come on.
tomorrow. I need like 1 week, 1 day. 18 months? Wow,
Okay.
okay.
So next we do a little bit of step-by-step work. So what is like the first segment that you will win? How will you validate the stuff, right? So this is like the discovery prism, and then go to market motion. So what are your candidates? What do you think that it will most likely work in AI B2B? That's usually some sort of combo of partnerships and outbound if you're expensive. And like if you are not that expensive, it would be something connected with product-led communities and maybe a little bit of inbound. But usually like for the first 50 customers, whatever is like more than $300 a month, it's a combination of those two. So next, what I invite people to do is just like divide this down to stages, right?
Okay.
So first, like proof of concept is to get 5 friends into the product and pray that they will not break it. Then you need to like organize the legit validation. So you need to have some sort of beta users or something like that. And here I prefer to just like use early monetization, because I am
Mm,
dead afraid that I'm gonna get feedback from people who will never pay for it, right? So I like these like entry stuff offers that they at least have something on the table
I see.
so that I know that they are serious. Next, I'm trying to build systems, SOPs. I'm trying
Mm,
to make sure that we have normal processes going on in the company. And later on, we can talk about the expansion. Now, the cool thing is that this very simple model has been applied to all different stages of product market fit. Here you
mm.
have like a couple of examples. This is like literally problem solution fit almost, right? It's pre-product market fit. Then you have like this one, where we are just validating this one go-to-market motions. And later on, you have an example of like a larger company So how to scale from 3,000 clients to 5,000 clients.
Sure.
And you will be seeing like legit marketing, DevOps, and sales vocabulary here. So that in a nutshell is the framework that I use on all my first session
I
to
love
just
that.
like understand people's thinking, right? And even if you are working like in a larger teams, it's so good because this is comprehensible. This is not like a 50-page doc that you expect somebody to read / put to their GPT and have a summary done. This is something that makes things like very, very, very plastic, very
Yeah.
visual. And then
Yeah.
we can elaborate on it.
Look, I love that. Look, I think that we'll make sure that the people can even download that. I think in the session, this will be super
Perfect.
powerful. I think to get some of that framing. But your walkthrough was awesome. Let me hit just a couple other things here. You're obviously working so much with AI companies,
Mhm.
and you've worked with over 800. What's one of the most underrated or overlooked moves that these companies can make? A GTM strategy successful today? What's your take there?
Okay, cool. I will just go one step backwards, Gabe, and talk about the modes really fast
Oh,
because I do
please,
believe
please
that
do
all
it.
AI products, like literally, it comes down to three modes. Like, do you have a proprietary data?
Okay.
Right? Did you train your model? Because the
Okay.
majority of us are not inventing models, and this is not like competitive advantage. Where
Yep.
we are mainly on the application layer. The second one is, can we integrate in like workflows? And here, if
Mm,
we can nail like workflows from the teams, this is so much better than if you are like piggybacked in a company by a solo player and never passed the compliance. And last but not least, the third thing, which is super important, are just like the feedback loops, right?
yeah.
And I was just like briefing one of my teams today, like, how does great look like? And I literally think that this is like the role of a product manager, whoever is making these decisions regards the product, to have like this type of standard. Like, what is a great output? What is an output that will radically outperform ChatGPT? Because otherwise, we have a wrapper with a nice user interface, and that won't get us far. No, seriously, this is like where I start this conversation. Now, the tactics, GTM tactics that are working extremely well, we have mentioned like AI SDRs and like all sorts of cool outbound, which is very signal heavy. And here with signals, I very much want to stress that we are not talking just like about this like public data on the internet stuff, but if you want to play this game very seriously, you need to bring in like first party data. You need to make sure that you have like your knowledge base in place and that you are generating some proprietary intelligence. And then what is really cool about this one is also like data enrichment. But before like I go too much too
Mm,
deep into that, not all AI SDRs are created equal. Let's
mhm.
make sure that we are not like wrapping some sort of perplexity or like internet data enrichment on it alone, because that can go very bad.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. The second one are partnership programs. So a lot of the companies that I work with, for example, I'm just like exploring a collaboration with Hayrich right now, and they went to 6 million. Our sorry, now we will have a cut because I cannot pronounce this word. Yearly revenue are
Yeah, I love it. No, you did
uh,
great. You did great.
in 2 years, and like ecosystem marketing and agency part was a huge part of their
Yeah.
growth, right? So
Yeah.
that creates a lot of leverage. This is so good and like undervalued in the market.
That's right.
And the third one, which is again like often overlooked, is the collaboration within the product.
Mm.
Like, if you have one user from one team and this is like all you can do, you can never like really expand the account hypothetically if you don't have like different roles and permission. Because with AI products, especially in B2B, like getting people to register is super easy. I personally sign up like for 5 different tools every day. Yesterday I tested like 5 AI agent building platforms.
Mm.
But like where they really hook me is with activation. So can I deploy this? Does it produce my value to me? So this is like me being like in my normal interfaces,
Yep.
aka Slack or like Claude. And the second one, which is super important, is then monetization. And this is getting super refined right now, because I will not pay for any credits before I see what the output will be. I was burned by the quality of output so many times as a user that I will not like putting my credit card because your website looks good, right? So the modern, let's say, agentic first interface is interoperable with like other tools that we are using, and it's easier for our habit creation. The modern interface is like AI first interface is first interoperable, so you can like play around with other with other interfaces. You don't have to like develop a new habit to visit another product.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that you experience the value before, like you are bombarded with all sorts of let's come to this webinar email, that you can like literally operate with it through either like a chat interface or something that gets you to the value real quick. This is where we should be innovative.
I love it. I love it. Well, Maja, we're basically out of time. Well, I mean,
Awesome.
I could talk to you for 10 hours, but I know you've got millions of things to do. What is what's the leave behind? You know, we've talked about a bunch of stuff. For people who are trying to get going on AI, what's that advice you'd give them as you kind of leave us today?
Yeah, just visualize your workflows. For example, I like to start with somewhere where I spend the majority of time that I don't like. In my case, this is like getting ready for a design briefing for LinkedIn and making sure that I'm monitoring the right type of posts from like the right type of influencers. Then like literally visualize the process, put it down, see where you waste the majority of time and energy, just like doing this dumb manual work, and build the agent, no code platforms. I won't be like throwing around names, but like start today. Stop just like thinking about this and like learning what the differences are between stuff. Look, the majority of stuff is literally just like a simple automation with what eventually becomes a product that is like serves you better. And if you know how to use Zapier, for example, you will know how to build AI agents.
Got it. Got it. Okay. Well, Maja, again, really appreciate you taking the time. We'll let you get back to your many, many clients. Love your content. Again, thanks for joining for the audience.
Thanks so much, Gabe. That's been
Have
a joy.
a fantastic day.